What is up everyone, welcome back to a deck profile video. Today we're going to be featuring Dinowrestlers. This is a really old deck that I used to feature on this channel, and honestly this deck just doesn't get enough attention. I think a lot of people are easily able to forget about this because pure dinos itself are pretty much considered the strongest version of dinos in general, so why bother playing Dinowrestlers, right? I mean, it makes sense. This whole deck, if anything, is more so a casual deck, and you can't really bring it to the competitive standpoint unless you're willing to actually ditch a lot of the Dinowrestler cards and just keep the essential key cards. But for this particular variant, I wanted to go for something that was just more stuck to its roots, I guess, and go for a more pure version. So without further ado, let's get started. To begin with monsters, we're playing two copies here of Dinowrestler. As you guys can tell, this card is not commonly played in any dino deck. Even in a Dinowrestler deck, it's not the most common card that would be played. However, given that this is a pure version that I wanted to stick to the roots of the deck, I decided to put in two copies of it. It is still quite interesting that it can't be destroyed by battle, but overall it's not the most difficult card for anyone to actually get over. That being said, if you're going for a pure variant, two copies will definitely do the job. Next, we're playing one Capaptera. Capaptera is quite interesting because if you use it as a link, then it boosts up your monsters. There are decks out there that actually do play at least one copy of this, so it makes it worthwhile, but I wouldn't ever increase it to two copies or any more. You end up actually filling up a lot of space in your deck. However, as for staples, we are playing three copies of Stegosaur, and this is actually one of the most staple cards you could play in Dinowrestlers. Even in one that is less pure than this one, it will still be played because it is definitely a really good card. Basically acts as your searcher and is nothing else more to really say about it. It's just a really amazing card. Of course, we're playing one copy of Pankratops. It is only at one copy. If anything, we would easily play three of these, but it is currently limited, so this is what we can do for the time being. Moving on, I wanted to talk about these two cards together, Escaraminchi and also Coelicilat. These two cards are pretty much just I guess they go together as a mini engine. You could play two copies of each as well, but I didn't want to fill up the entire deck. But the two of them being a level 6 and 2, they both pretty much synchro summon to go into your synchro monster. Let's see, where is it? I think it's Yugioh Spinosavat, which is your main boss, of course, and these two cards essentially just get into it really easily. So it's not like you're going to draw into both of these copies, but considering that you did also have, you know, your previous card, sorry, not this one. Considering that we had the Stegosaur, it could actually just search up the two we need. Now, one thing I actually really like about Dinowrestlers is that they actually have their own hand traps, so that's pretty cool. That's why we're playing three copies here of Martial Anger. Martial Anger, during damage calculation, it essentially will prevent your Dinowrestler, when it battles, prevents it from being destroyed by battle, and also it just ends the battle phase as well right after you take the damage, which it's definitely going to save you, and because of that I thought three copies was definitely really necessary. We're also playing two copies here of Martial Ankelo, again another hand trap, and in this particular situation, again it protects it from battle. Also, the attack of the opponent's monster is also halved at the end of damage step. So it doesn't end the battle phase like Martial Anger, but it does weaken your opponent's monster, which is definitely something that is quite nice. Next, we're playing two copies here of Martial Ampello. Again, similar case, you could ditch it from the hand and prevent your monster from being destroyed by battle. However, it's the secondary effect that really is important in this case, where essentially if you're able to declare an attack, then you can just banish this card from the graveyard and add any Dinowrestler monster from your deck to your hand, except for himself, of course, which makes him quite a decent search as well that follows after Stegosaur. Next, we're playing only one copy of Ranbrakio is just a really nice card where if you just deal damage to your opponent, you get to special summon this out from your hand for free, and I thought it was something that would be great if you were ever deciding to go for some kind of synchro play. Next, we're playing Valionyx, 2 copies of these. It's just an easy summon. If your opponent controls a monster, you simply get to special summon this from the hand, which is quite nice. Actually, if only your opponent controls a monster, so obviously you have to have nothing at all. But yeah, really nice card, really easy to bring out, and again, just acts as fodder for links and also for synchro summoning as well. Next, we're playing 3 copies here of Beat Raptor. I figured I really wanted to put this card into the deck. It essentially just negates any monsters that are in the extra monster zones while this card is in the main monster zone, making him pretty amazing. Reason why we're playing 3 copies is pretty much when this card is destroyed by battle, you just get to special summon another one from your deck, which is just going to be quite tedious for your opponent to actually deal with. Now, if you guys are already guessing by now, I am not playing WilltheReaper in this deck, and I didn't want to play WilltheReaper because it seemed like too easy of a card to go into, and it kind of also took away the high purity of the deck itself. But if you did want to play WilltheReaper, then you could just take out the Beat Raptor. These 2 cards are pretty much interchangeable in their own regard, and I'm just choosing to play Beat Raptor because I think that WilltheReaper has been a card that's just a bit too popular, and this particular deck profile itself is less competitive and falling a bit more on the fun side of things. As for the final monster, we're playing 2 copies here of Nibiru. Nibiru has just been a really amazing card. It just deals with a lot of opponents, and you know, before they get into their Dragoons, I just want to deal with their board as quickly as possible. So Nibiru definitely will slow them down. People can always make the claim that they could easily play their way through Nibiru, but you can't help but accept the fact that Nibiru will still diminish your board regardless. Even though you could play through it and still establish some kind of board, I think that Nibiru itself still made progress in making it easier for us to actually get through you on our following turn. Alright, so on to the spells. As you guys already know, we're not playing any hand traps, and that's mainly because the Dinowrestlers were hand traps themselves, so you don't have to play Ash, you don't have to play anything else. They were more so just good replacements for them. So the Dinowrestler deck, definitely got to give props to it because it could actually have their own hand traps. However, onto spells, we are playing 3 copies here of World Dino Wrestling. This card is essentially the staple of the deck, just really good. You actually want it more in the graveyard than on the field, and because of that, it is a really interesting card in terms of interaction. For a lot of the one-offs now, we're going to be playing 1 copy of Tyrant Dino Fusion, we're playing 1 copy of Terraforming, Caught by the Grave, Mind Control, and we're also playing the Monster Reborn and Foolish Burial. So Foolish will get your Stegosaur to the graveyard, which is definitely really nice. Mind Control and Caught by the Grave, I consider them staples in my own right. Monster Reborn just works really well because we have big beat sticks in the grave anyway. Terraforming will get your World Dino Wrestling to activate, and the Tyrant Dino Fusion, I really only go into the fusion few times in a particular whole match even. You know, like out of 3 whole games, 3 individual matches, yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. Essentially, I barely go into this, and if anything, it doesn't even come up at all. And to finish things off, we're playing 2 copies here of MST. I just think it's a really nice card to, I guess, help you get rid of some back row, but also you could target your own World Dino Wrestling just to get things going as well. And then we're also playing 2 copies here of Burial Goods, because I felt that this card would accelerate your Dino Wrestling to the actual grave itself so that it could trigger its effect right off the bat. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But one thing I am missing right now is 3 copies of my Fossil Dig. For some reason, I just can't find it. I actually found my Dino deck, my other one, the pure version of it, and that particular Dino deck, for some reason, I just can't find the fossil digs. Like, they somehow disappeared and I have no idea where it is right now. I know I still have it, I just can't find it. So imagine I'm actually playing 3 copies of Fossil Dig right here on the screen, you know, because if you don't, then the deck will be at 38. So this is meant to be in total a 41 card deck, and I just need the Fossil Digs. And I almost forgot to actually mention it, but yeah, the Fossil Digs definitely play 3. I think, well, it's become a staple in any Dino deck, and I think it's going to serve better than Oviraptor, simply because Oviraptor requires you to actually summon him out to search, whereas Fossil Dig is just a spell card that you can activate off the hand, and because of that, I think that it deserves to be played at 3. Alright, so on to the extra deck. We're playing 2 copies here of King T-Rexel. This card is quite a nice card, but I don't go into it too often. We're also playing 2 copies here of Terra Pacurio. Terra Pacurio is, again, just one of those cards that really link up to go into this, which is quite nice. We're also playing 1 copy of the Chimera T-Rexel. This is, like I said, the fusion barely comes up in most of my games. And we're also playing 2 copies here of Giga Spino Savat. This card we do actually go into. Surprisingly, even though we actually only have 1 tuna in the deck, it does come up more often so than these following cards, or these previous cards before I mentioned. So yeah, this card, I mean, it's pretty nice. They're kind of acting like the ancient gear monsters, where your opponent just can't activate their spells and trap cards, so that's definitely really nice. And most of them really just act as big beat sticks to help you go for the OTK win. For other additional options, we're playing Star Eater, we're playing Leo, and we're playing the Dawn Dragstar. Just different options that we could actually go into. Makes it really fun, gives us variety, and it seems almost ridiculous that we're actually playing this many synchros despite the fact that we're only playing 1 tuna, but believe me, when the situation comes, you understand. Finally, for the links, we're playing Decode Talker, we're playing the Mrs. Radiant because they're all Earth, we're playing the Cerberus and the Phoenix because they're great utility cards, and we're playing Avramax and Borreload because they're just good boss monsters that I actually end up going into more often than the actual Dinowrestler boss monsters. However, that was pretty much it for today's deck, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, leave a thumbs up and also share this video for anyone who might be interested. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. I will be doing a test hand video just to show off what the deck can actually go into. But that being said, I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you next time.